Hey guys, philzeroyt here, weekly merch giveaway winner, congrats! So, Nightwish Army, you guys are friggin' nuts. So I posted my first video on Nightwish for Ghost Love Score, and seeing all the positive responses, it's just so awesome to see such like a loyal fan base educate a Nightwish newbie like me on Nightwish things. So, a popular request from you guys for my next Nightwish song to check out is Romanticide. I got floored by Floor in the last video. How many reactors have said that? I have no idea what to expect with this one, so let's give it a go. Also, I'm still kind of getting over a cold, so please excuse my scratchy voice. I hope it's not too distracting. The tritones? You know a metal band means business when they use that scale. Whoa! Okay. Okay, I get a song break here to geek out and analyze a bit. I always try to pause at like natural song breaks rather than like a middle of a verse. Some people get annoyed with that for some reason, which I never really understood. Like if you want to listen to the song, just listen to the song. So we're only a minute in and they're already taking us on a roller coaster ride. So the song started with that classic metal horror sounding scale, or tritones, or augmented fourth for us music nerds. And that's just kind of that clashy note interval that doesn't sound like a normal harmony. Like the sound's really dissonant and it kind of has this spooky effect, but it's been used in metal so much that it's kind of like a standard thing now. And then let's count how many voices Floor gives us already in like the first minute. There's one. There's two. I love that. There's three. And there's four. So 4 voices, 4 for Floor. So she does like 3 voice switches in like a minute, and I talked about this more in depth in my Ghost Love Score reaction about how she can switch between styles like so seamlessly, but also in a way that doesn't sound like forced. And that's a very unique ability, like not many people can do that. I remember seeing some comments that were like, most singers sing what they can, but Floor sings what she wants, which I think is a great way to put it, and here's the proof. So she starts off with that kind of breathy, narrow, operatic head voice chant, right? Yeah. Then she goes into this bright, almost soul R&B kind of pop voice with like the vocal riffs and the runs. Right there. So, just a quick fun fact here. Look what Floor does with her hand here. Watch what she does with this hand when she sings that run. So that's not just some dancey stage presence thing, which it can double as, I guess. But you commonly see singers doing this when they're singing riffs and runs, because this kind of acts like a mental cue to tell your brain that, oh yeah, I have to switch notes here. Da 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 da. So doing this with your hands just kind of helps your brain tell your body to jump notes. Like another common one you see is the piano hands. Da 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 da. Or the wave. Same idea, just thought that was a fun fact. And on that same line, she did like a really bright and wide kind of pop or R&B voice. You hear how bright and wide and forward that is? Look at the shape of her mouth and tongue here. So that voice, it's made at the very front of her mouth, like it's almost nasally sounding. And this is a very pop style, like it's very wide and enunciated. And a lot of pop singers sing like this with this mouth shape almost exclusively. And the more you bring the resonance back and the more you narrow your mouth, this is how you get that darker operatic voice. And then after this, she goes into that growly, heavier, darker voice. So between those two voices, she went from like the very front of her mouth all the way back here. But again, it all sounds natural. Like, I'm not gonna hammer this point too hard again because I think I talked about it enough in the Ghost Love score reaction, but Floor just has a very unique ability to jump back and forth between voices so seamlessly and effortlessly. It's almost like she's just turning a knob to whatever voice she wants with like zero technique bleeding from one to the other. Because what tends to happen with a lot of singers is when they switch voices, the habits from both, they kind of mush together, and you can still kind of hear resonances from both voices. But when Floor does it, it's just like instant switch and then instant switch again. And I know this is all a bit nuanced, but this is incredible. Okay, moving on. Where should I go from? Go off. Music is get the aim and you set the kiss of babies, but I bet really forward. Nope. She went back early. Tell me why the heart to cry, let me high. Leave me be and cease to tell me how to feel, to breathe, to shield myself from evil. Leave me be, all the of nights is killing me. Romanticide, till now do me part. Okay, dude's having a drink, taking a break, so I get to nerd out a bit more. So I caught something interesting, to me anyway, and I usually call these little technique tells, but I think when it comes to Floor, that's a little redundant. She's obviously a friggin' vocal powerhouse, and we know that she's classically trained, but she's doing a very classic singer trick here. You notice how she pronounces the E vowel? Like, she's not going E, but she's pronouncing it E. And I talked about this in the Ghost Love score reaction, but just changing the shape of your mouth, that also changes the texture and the sound, and some people call it a brighter voice or a darker voice. Let's listen to all the E vowels she sings. So if we compare that with, let's look for an E word in the verse. Right there. You hear that? How she sang fear? One more time. It was kind of quick. The fear. The vowel's completely different in this voice. It's very wide and forward, right? Like, it's very bright and delicate versus in the chorus. How to feel. But the words are the same vowel. Both fear and feel, they're both E, right? So this is a very classic singer trick. When certain vowels don't match the voice that you want to sing, you can change the vowel. And I know that sounds weird and illegal because E by nature, it's a very wide and bright sounding vowel, right? So she changes it to almost like a U, but in the context of the voice she's singing in that section, it doesn't sound like she's singing U. Killing me. But the thing is, it all sounds very cohesive and natural when she does it, right? Like, if you were just listening to this, you wouldn't even think twice about it, and that's kind of the point. Like, singers don't want you to be fixated on every syllable. They just want you to feel the song and the story and the emotion. I just like listening for this stuff because I'm a nerd and this is what I studied. So if you didn't know this trick, now you know. See if you can pick it out from any other songs and singers. It's probably the most commonly used singer trick. Floor changed the vowel in a bright sounding word to make it sound darker, and pop singers usually do the opposite. Like, they'll take a dark sounding word to try and make it sound brighter. Anyways, I'm nerding out too hard. Let's move on. happening. Jeez, Floor's tall. Aren't the Dutch like the tallest in the world or something? Oh, okay.
Death always alive, I'm without sense. The near death experience, heart was bold, now time to show. Perfection, my messenger from earth. Taste the water, can fire, feast of menace, burn. Romance is lost, Lord, let me be lost in this power. Temporary pain, eternal shame. Step hard in these devil's stress game. Spit on me, let go, get rid of me and try to survive your stupidity.
That was some Corey Taylor Slipknot. Jeez! Jeez. What in the world? Okay, Floor. Well, you know we have to talk about that slide. Oh, Floor. Go off. Flex on him. One more time. One more time. Okay, I see you. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna need a sec. My thoughts are loading. Okay. So this vocal bend or slide or scoop or whatever you want to call it, this is kind of like the pinnacle for vocal nerds like me. This is a full-on vocal flex, this is not a fair fight, and I'm here for it. And if you know what this is, you know. Like, this is the mark of a singer who has it all. So a lot of the time when you study vocals, your coach will have you do like a vocal slide or some kind of variation to see where your vocal breaks are and if you can get through them or how you get through them. So basically, there's 3 sections to your voice. There's your chest voice, your mixed voice, and your head voice. But right between those sections, like right between your chest and mix or right between mix and head, those are your vocal bridges. So those bridges or vocal breaks, those are the points where your voice naturally wants to break. So if I tried to do the slide right now with no warm-up and not thinking about it too much, you're gonna hear a break. So that point where my voice flipped, that's a vocal bridge. So the goal of that slide, it's to have it go in one smooth motion without that break. So as you practice and get stronger, you go from you go from that to and as you get stronger, you can go higher and higher. And sliding through both vocal bridges like Floor does, this is something even a lot of seasoned singers can't do, like especially that fast. I definitely can't do it. Jeez. No breaks, you hear that? There's no flip. So a little secret that singers don't want you to know. Come at me, singers. I don't care. Sue me. So because the bridge notes are so awkward to sing, those are the notes where your voice naturally wants to crack. So what do you think most singers do? They just skip the notes entirely. They just don't use them. So when they're writing music, they'll position the melody to not land on those notes. And if the melody does land on a note, they'll just transpose the song up or down so they don't have to sing those notes. And I know this because I did it all the time. So it's different for every vocal range, depending on if the singer's a tenor or an alto or a soprano, but almost always there's a few notes that singers don't like to touch, and this is why. But Floor don't care at all. She's like, scared of notes? Notes are scared of me. Eaten up for breakfast. Bridge notes for breakfast. Hey, that's kind of catchy. Don't steal it. It's mine. Okay. All right, so that was Romanticide by Nightwish. So you guys were right. I think some of you commented that Romanticide would be more my jam over Ghost Love's score. And yeah, I enjoyed both, but this song is actually, I think, one that I would listen to on the reg. Like, I like catchy melodies, I like hooks, and I'm adding this to my playlist right now. I think some of you guys said Floor did like a pop project before. Like, that would be cool to check out. This is my favorite part about doing these videos. Like, before I started this channel, I was kind of in like a music rut. Like, I wasn't really interested in any new music, and I've been listening to the same like 20 bands for like the past 20 years, and this is good for me. This is kind of reigniting my passion for music in general, and it's a good feeling. So if you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing. It really does help me out. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.